What's up, everybody? Welcome to this Steelers special report. It's an amazing day in the city of Pittsburgh. It's a big party in the city of Pittsburgh today. 2 days before Thanksgiving, I'm Mason Tedeschi, your host. We are super thrilled in Pittsburgh, pumped up. Not only did Thanksgiving come early, but Christmas came early as well for us Steeler fans. The Pittsburgh Steelers have done it. They have officially fired Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this is an amazing day for Steeler fans as a whole. First off, I just want to say this is awesome. It feels so good. For sure that the team finally made this decision. I do want to talk a little bit about Canada himself. Just my opinions on the guy. But that'll be, and how the Steelers can move forward after this and what's next for the Steelers. But I'll get into that all later. That's later. This is definitely going to be a long special report episode for sure, but it is truly a special one. First off, just the story. We'll do the story, then we'll do my thoughts, then I'll just say some personal stuff about Matt Canada and just some things about him, and then I will get into concluding where do we go from here at this point. So here's what I have to say first with the story. This morning, I was laying in bed, actually. We're off today, and that's probably why you're like, Mason, why do you have a Penn State shirt on? Probably all like crazy with me, but I just wear it because some of these like clothes, obviously I'm not going to wear a Penn State shirt to school, and I really love this outfit. I just love the design of it. So I decided, hey, heck with it, just wear it here around the house. So this is actually one of my favorite like pull-up sweatshirts or whatever you call them. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite ones. So sorry to burp. But that's why we got the Penn State clothes on today. As I burp again. That's why. But anyway, though, this morning when I was waking up, because obviously it's Thanksgiving break for us at Pitt, so I decided to sleep in some because I needed some sleeping time, especially after that big Eagles win last night. Shout out to the Eagles, big win over the Chiefs. A little disappointed that the Lions couldn't pass Philly there, but we'll get into that more on my recap. So, which I'm about to do here in a couple minutes, to be honest. But anyway, so 3 new episodes today. Anyway, though, I woke up this morning and I got a text from I got a text at first. I was like, is this my dad telling me to wake up? No, it wasn't actually. I have a friend out in Philly who goes to college with me at Pitt, friend of mine out in Philly. I texted him last night after the game, just say big win. He responded back to me this morning, so that's what that text was. So that's all that was. But anyway, though, my phone dinged for a time. Technically, your phone dings twice when these iPhones, they ding twice when you don't answer a text the first time. That's what I did. I didn't answer my friend's text the first time. I just looked over, glanced at it to make sure it wasn't a wake-up text from my dad, and it wasn't. It was my friend, and he was enthusiastic about the Eagles win, so good for him. But anyway, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to bed. Because it was like 8:30, or it was like 8:25, 8:30 in the morning. I then go back to bed. 20 minutes later, my phone dings the third time, and I'm like, this better not be a third time of my friend. I checked my phone. It wasn't a wake-up text from my dad. It wasn't a text from my Philly friend. But it was a text from my dad. And he said, Steelers have fired Matt Canada. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy in bed. What a wake-up text. That was an even better wake-up text than just confirming I woke up all good. And then I scroll down on my phone and it says, read a statement issued by Mike Tomlin. First thing I do is log into Twitter. And a lot of people are enthusiastic that I text two of my other Pittsburgh friends who I've gone to games with and stuff and just say, best day ever. A lot of compliments, a lot of enthusiasm from them. And then I just read Twitter stuff and all that. And I was surprised Because when I was I put on 93.7 The Fan, the very minute I woke up, I put on 93.7 The Fan, laid in bed for about a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and just listened to 93.7 The Fan for them to give their takes on this. And I'll give my takes, so don't worry. But anyway, though, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement here. Matt Canada is officially out as offensive coordinator. And just one more thing I want to say before we get into my thoughts, and this will be an entertaining part. It was Art Rooney. I just had to call to apologize to my dad, actually, because I told him I figured it might be Omar Khan that made his decision, because out of the three, Tomlin, Rooney, and Khan, I could see Khan being the one that's the most aggressive to make this decision. It wasn't Omar Khan. It wasn't Mike Tomlin. It was Art Rooney II, so props to him for making this decision. For sure, we'll get into this more in the my thoughts, but Art Rooney II was the one who made the decision to fire Matt Canada as Steelers offensive coordinator. This all comes following a 13-10 horrible performance. And now my eyes get better. Hang on. You probably could tell if the film in my eyes weren't the best. Computer sets off and my eyes come back the way I want them to. So anyway, it wasn't the reflection. I thought it would be a reflection from the lighting over there and stuff on my glasses. It wasn't. It was the computer. So that's good to know. But anyway, for the future, moving forward. But anyway, though, the fact that Rooney made this decision to fire Canada, not Khan or not Tomlin, shows you that Rooney may be getting a little aggressive here. And that's a good thing. That's what you want out of ownership. As I was going to say before the lighting came up, this all comes following a 13-10 loss to the Cleveland Browns on Sunday afternoon. Everybody in the Steelers organization complimented the Cleveland defense after the loss. That was the stupidest thing ever. This Cleveland defense is my fantasy defense. They had one of their worst days. And don't get me wrong, they still put up 11 points. They're still a phenomenal defense. And they're going to be my defense the rest of the year. They put up 11 points against the Steelers. Look at what they've done in the past for me. They only had 10 points against the Colts. 3 points against the Seahawks, but that was just blah. Seattle's good. 29 points against the Cardinals. 15 points against the Ravens. 11 points against the Steelers. They have gone one turnover almost every game until this one. And don't get me wrong, my fantasy team got pounded this week. I was the second highest scorer in our league, and I lost by 32 points. I have one of the best rosters in the league, and I'm sitting in last place. Technically, I probably deserve last place because I won the championship last year, but still. The second place team, and I'm not critiquing anybody or being a lunatic, but the second place team in my division, I have outscored not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 consecutive weeks. I swept the team. They're one game better than me, and therefore they're second place, and I'm in 5th place. Out of 5. Our league is wide open right now. So there's still hope. But hey, it's fantasy football. It'll be over in a couple weeks, so just put it at that. You know what won't be over, though, in a couple weeks is the Steelers' offensive coordinator search. That's going to continue well into the offseason now. That'll definitely be an interesting search, and it's probably the most consequential offensive coordinator search for Mike Tomlin. This school, too, the Penn State Nittany Lions, will have another consequential offseason search, offensive coordinator search this offseason. And my school, the Pitt Panthers, University of Pittsburgh Panthers football team will likely have another one. So starting soon, starting probably in the next couple days for college, January 20th for pros, this December, because it will be November 26th, what can you do in 5 days? I mean, you can make a decision in 5 days, but it's not going to be real effective because you didn't take your time and thoroughly think it through. Plus, you got to bring other candidates in. But this December, starting December 1st, ending January 1st, those 62 days will be the most consequential 62 days in terms of offensive coordinator hires for the western half of football in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't know about you, but I can still consider Penn State in the western half of the state, considering it's 2 hours from Pittsburgh, or 2 hours from where I live, 3 hours from Philly. When you look at a map, though, you could say Penn State's 3 hours from Pittsburgh, 3 hours from Philly. I still think Penn State's a little closer to Pittsburgh. But now we are looking at the most consequential offensive coordinator searches in a long time for Pitt, Penn State, and the Steelers. I'll be with you all the way for all of them. But anyway, let's move on now into My Thoughts segment of this special report of this. And Steelers decide to fire Matt Canada as the team's offensive coordinator. So now it's on to My Thoughts. There's a couple of them. As the lighting comes back on because I turn on the computer to get up my thoughts. Here's what we're going to do. I can still read in the dark, so we're going to turn the lighting down. That's probably good. Here's my thoughts, and here's what I think they need to do next. My thoughts are this. My thoughts are that they need to find out what they truly have in Kenny Pickett. This firing gives them that opportunity. This firing is a good thing because it gives you the chance to find out who was the problem. Mike Sullivan will be play calling. Eddie Faulkner will be interim offensive coordinator. With these people, you can find out now what you truly have in him. There's been a lot of heat in Pittsburgh and a lot of heat on Kenny Pickett the past several days. Now you can find out what you truly have in him. Was it Matt Canada bringing Kenny Pickett down? Or is it Kenny Pickett bringing down the Steelers' offense? These next 7 games will let us find out. If Pickett succeeds with Faulkner and Sullivan, you maybe decide to keep him one more year and evaluate this on a year-to-year basis, or more so after next year than anything. If Pickett fails, this offense implodes, Steelers miss the playoffs, there's no doubt about it at this point. You need to move on and get a new offensive coordinator. Or, not a new offensive coordinator, new quarterback this offseason. So this is it. This is when it comes down to Kenny Pickett. The second thing is this. This may have seemed like a long shot possibility a long time ago, or just a couple sort of hours ago. But watching and seeing Rooney II become a little more aggressive, and don't get me wrong, I still think this is a very long shot possibility this happens. Rooney II getting involved and starting to get a little more aggressive and involved. I think Mike Tomlin might be on a little bit of a short leash here. He's a nice guy. He's an amazing head coach. He's great. And he's one of the best coaches in the league, and I respect him a lot. However, we all need to come to the conclusion that this form and this formula of Steelers football is truly and honestly unacceptable. The standard is the standard, they always say. The standard cannot be 9-8, consistently missing the playoffs and facing the consequence of not only missing the playoffs, but not getting a nice top 10 draft pick either. Then you have to trade up and trade valuable draft capital. And that's not good either. If we finish slow to the season, miss the playoffs, then I think you need to reflect. Look at the way, and I like George Pickens a lot, but look at the way he's behaved this year. Look at some of the other stuff that's going on with people in this organization. People leaving, people this, people that. Flashbacks 2017, 2018. Look at what happened with Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Tomlin gets a lot of credit for handling them as he should. But this team has been, on several occasions, a free-for-all and a circus. And that's crazy. So maybe the buck does stop here with our Rooney II, and maybe he does go bold. I doubt that Tomlin gets let go regardless. But if something goes wrong and the season finishes poorly, I wouldn't be surprised with Rooney asking him to either retire, step aside, and I think the third option is the best option. Possibly consider moving him to the front office. He would be very valuable in the front office, working alongside Omar Khan and Andy Weidel. Sean Payton in Denver is more than the head coach. I'll tell you that right now. The fact that the hiring or the hierarchy structure in the NFL, the typical structure of power is head coach reports to general manager reports to owner. That's how most power structures are, and that's probably the best way to do it. However, there's a couple things. Go out to Denver. George Paton, general manager of the Broncos. And we're going to flash back to 2022. Sorry to burp. With Denver, because it reminds me of Pittsburgh a little bit now. And no, not because of record. Denver absolutely was garbage last year. No doubt about it, complete and total garbage. So in January of 2022, Broncos were 7-10, headed in the right direction for sure. George Paton, the GM, fires head coach Vic Fangio. Goes through a lot of candidates, does a lot of interviews. End of January, hires Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, to be the head coach. Team goes out and trades for Russell Wilson. It's the Paton and Hackett show at this point. And then later, the team gets bought by the Walton Penner family. But still, Paton and Hackett are running the show for this year. The team sucks. Team is barely losing. Christmas Day rolls around. Play the Rams. Also a pathetic team. Get destroyed. Paton says, and Hackett goes. Paton was the one, I think, who stood up for Hackett. Stood up for Hackett. I think it was Walton Penner that wanted Hackett to go. And the Denver fans. Very similar to what is going on now in Pittsburgh. Tomlin sticks up for Canada. Fans want him to go. Rooney wants him to go. Like the Walton Penner group, Rooney got his way. In February, February, I don't care which one, I don't know. Sorry about that. The team hires Sean Payton to be their next head coach. And bringing in Sean Payton represents a significant philosophy change. During this hiring search in Denver, Walton Penner made most of the decisions, not George Patton, the GM, who they had ultimate confidence in. Walton Penner hires Sean Payton. George Patton's role, it seems like, in that organization now, and don't get me wrong, he's a great GM. He's one of my favorite GMs, actually, but yeah. His role in the organization is not the role that most GMs have. Before making transactions and stuff, George Patton has to report to Sean Payton and get Sean Payton's final stamp of approval. So then that is a misoccurrence of the power structure, because it seems like Sean Payton is the highest person in that organization, as he should be with the experience that he has. But anyway, though, there's this. Walton Penner, not George Patton, was involved in that Sean Payton hiring process. And Denver's much better. So credit to Sean Payton. Great job by you. So was Walton Penner. Here's what I think, and this is how it implies to the Steelers and Tomlin. It shows you, with Sean Payton having a valuable role in that front office, that Tomlin could still possibly have a valuable role in the Steelers organization, even if it's not on the sidelines. He could make a very great fit in the press box. A lot of people have mentioned Tomlin possibly, once he retires from the NFL, going into broadcasting. I think that would be great for him. I think it'd make a great broadcaster. He has several amazing possibilities, and he's awesome. You've got to love him. However, maybe the sideline and making certain decisions isn't the best place. He manages the game very well. He is very good at managing the game. And that's why we're as good as we've been every year. Some of the hires, though, and draft picks are what has stabbed this organization in the back. And what has made this organization sometimes not willing to talk about. I know a lot of people that after, like, Penn State football loses, or any team loses, they say, because there's a saying that says, in life there's only two things that are guaranteed. The first being you're going to pay taxes. The second being you're going to die. Both unfortunate things that nobody wants. Although when you die, you get to go to heaven, which is a better place. But the thing is, people think doom and gloom with death. People think doom and gloom when paying taxes. And when you browse on X or Twitter after a Steelers loss or a Penn State loss, you get taxes, death, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Taxes, death, and Penn State football. Or you get the three things that nobody wants to talk about at dinner. Religion, politics, and Penn State football. Religion, politics, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's because of some of the decisions that are being made that have cost this team. People don't want to talk about something that upsets them. Matt Canada upset Pittsburgh fans. And that's why it's amazing that he is gone. how to repair that organization to make the Steelers exciting at future Thanksgiving dinners. And even this one. Obviously, this Thanksgiving, we're going to be in 3 days or 2 days. Big topic will be firing Canada. Where do you go from here? Where do you do this? And I'm going to get to that at the end if you want to talk about Thanksgiving this year. Hopefully, future Thanksgivings, Steeler fans are able to feast together and talk about the positives of the team. Similar to what Philly fans are going to do this Thanksgiving. Detroit fans, Baltimore fans, Jacksonville fans, you get it. Same with Penn State and Pitt. Hopefully they can all three be talking about how great they are. It's going to take work. There's no doubt about it. But, yeah. That's all I have for that. In terms of that situation, that is all I have about the... And then at this point, you need to see what you can do, and I'll get into that at the end. But anyway, though, here's my thoughts on Matt Canada personally. I just wanted to share this with you. Since we won't be talking about him much more now that he's fired as Steelers offensive coordinator, I just want to share my thoughts about Matt Canada. When the team hired Matt Canada in 2020, or 2019, I think 2020, yeah, to be the quarterback's coach, I was very excited. Here's why. In 2018, a player by the name of Jordan McNair, I think it was, passed away during a practice for Maryland football. It was very sad. There were several investigations into the Maryland football program. And they elected to fire their head coach. A guy by the name of Matt Canada was named interim head coach for the season. And I'm going to pull up that 2018 Maryland football team. I remember we were going to a Penguin game that night. It was a 7 o'clock puck drop. So we were home at noon. I was coming home from my bowling league because I used to be a bowler back then. Or either that or I didn't bowl that week. I don't know. Maryland and Ohio State was the game on TV. Ohio State was ranked like third in the country. Matt Canada was the head coach of Maryland. Ohio State beat Maryland 52-51. The fact, though, that this was an interim head coach, that this program was going through a lot at the time, and they only lost by 1 point to an Ohio State team that was like third in the nation, is amazing. Maryland was 5-7 that year. They missed out on a bowl game after a loss to Penn State at the end of the year. I was at that game. But anyway, this Maryland team, they beat Texas. They beat Minnesota. Put up 63 points against Illinois. Barely lost in overtime 52-51 to Ohio State, as I was just saying. This was something different. I'm sorry. This was the second to last game of the year. I'm sorry. I thought it was a different game. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So we were actually on Sopping that night. I'm sorry. I was confused. And then the last game they lost to Penn State. Point being is this. I respected Matt Canada a lot. And when I found out we hired him, I was psyched. Very happy. However, when we fired Randy Fichtner at the conclusion of 2020, following that playoff loss to the Browns, it's funny that our last two offensive coordinators got fired after losses to the Browns. Maybe they do almost. Maybe Myles Garrett has taken over Pittsburgh, unfortunately. But anyway, though, the fact that we promoted him to offensive coordinator, I was really happy about. They do promote from within a lot. That's not a bad thing. However, the fact that you fired somebody and you promote one of their assistants is a little bit not the best look. And then last year, 2021 was okay. But that was mostly because of Ben. 2022 was awful. 2023 was even more awful. But anyway, I respect Matt Canada a lot for his work in Maryland. And I hope he gets a good job in the college game. Because I think he's best in college and working in college, not the pros. So hopefully he gets a good job there. And no, I don't want him to be the offensive coordinator for Pitt or Penn State. I'll just say that right now. No. Maybe Penn State, but certainly not Pitt. Anyway, though, be hopeful that he won't be the OC at Pitt, but don't chase him out of town just yet. He might not be with the Steelers, but maybe Pitt will get it worse. So, fingers crossed, no. Fingers crossed he goes to Penn State. Or even WVU or another ACC rival. That'd be nice. But anyway, though, I met Matt Canada at a training camp this year. He was very nice to me. I respect him a lot, but he's a very genuine person, and I truly do wish him and his family nothing but the best. It's just, it was a hire that didn't work out. So, yeah. That's all I have to say. Now I want to move into the next part of the video, the final part. Where do you go from here? So, it's pretty straightforward, I think, where you go from here. Looking at it this way. The Eagles, the Lions, and the other successful teams in this league got to the point they're at pretty quick. The reason they got there so quick is because they were bad a couple of years. Therefore, they had high draft picks. And they were rebuilt. They rebuilt themselves. I don't think Pittsburgh needs a rebuild on defense. The defense is impressive. It's still one of the strong points of this team. However, they need to rebuild the offense. That means drafting mostly all offense, signing mostly all offense, and only drafting and signing defensive players if you need to replace somebody. Because that defense is good as is. To do that, though, you need to evaluate the rest of this year. Let's look at the remaining schedule. At the Bengals this coming Sunday. Arizona at home. New England Thursday night at home. At the Colts. Bengals. At Seahawks. At Ravens. If the team makes the playoffs with this schedule, then maybe, and does okay, maybe Pickett is the guy. If the team misses the playoffs and this offense implodes, then you need to rebuild this whole offense, top down to top bottom, and let Omar Khan and Andy White handle it. Like I said, that was the one thing that upsets me about Kenny Pickett. The fact that he was not even drafted by Khan, and he was drafted by his predecessor, who we all knew was retiring. So yeah, maybe it is time for a new quarterback. And no, I'm not saying this because I have a Penn State hoodie on. I go to Pitt. So it sucks. It is very disappointing that Kenny Pickett might not be the answer. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. It sucks. But you gotta win. You can't be stuck in this status quo, mediocre state of mind. And that's what they were in. Until today. What you do at this point, who knows? But you got to evaluate everything. You got to evaluate this organization top down and top bottom. And I read a tweet today that connected and linked Terrell Austin, defensive coordinator for the Steelers, to the Syracuse job. And I'm not saying he should be on the hot seat at all. He definitely should not be. However, there are other defensive minds, such as Manny Diaz at Penn State, and other ones throughout the entire NFL who could possibly do a better job than Terrell Austin. I don't want to clean house and rebuild. But it might be the best option forward at this point. It's a shame, but it might be. The rest of the season needs to be about evaluating this team more specifically this offense, see where we're at, where we can improve, and ways we can be better. I'm going to end this episode here, but that's all I have for you guys today in regards to the firing of Matt Canada. I'll be back with you guys Sunday. Steelers play the Bengals, 1 o'clock kickoff at Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. Definitely interesting for sure. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. Enjoy this day. Pray for Israel. And as always, peace. See you Sunday.